Hi, this is Nancy Damiano, garden girl at 2peasinabucket.com with this week's episode of Scrap Your Stash. On this week's episode, I'm going to be digging into my wood frame stash. These are exclusive by 2Ps and I have quite a collection, so I wanted to dig into it. I started out with these pictures of my son on vacation from last year. And the significant story here was him trying guava juice for the very first time. He's a really picky eater, so I was super surprised that he actually even tried it. This is the sketch that I started out with. It's sort of a frame within a frame, and then I wanted to stitch a big X across it. It's a nautical flag that I had seen somewhere, and it's a quick sketch that I had taken down. I always wanted to try it for a layout. The color scheme came from this triangle paper. Most of the papers here are Studio Calico, the Atlantic collection. I've had them for a while. And it's just a pretty soft palette. And it goes really well with the photos. This one is El Studio. And then some gray cardstock. These stickers are also from the Atlantic collection from Studio Calico. And here are the wood frames that I wanted to use up. I'm going to decorate with some die cuts. Again, Studio Calico Atlantic. And some cork to add some dimension and a little pop of sort of a darker color. Enamel dots always. And some sentiment stamps. I have to apologize for the next 25 seconds of blurry video. That was a little production error that I couldn't go back and refilm. But I didn't want to cut it out because I wanted to show you how I laid out the frame within the frame, the cardstock, the yellow, the light blue, and then the white in the center. And then here I'm just making an X just straight in the center of the page. And that's going to be my guideline for stitching that great big X in the middle of the page. So here we go, clear video again. Here I've traced out the big X, and then I've used my piercing tool to create little holes. Now that X goes across the cardstock, the yellow, the blue, and the white, obviously in the middle. I wanted it to be one continuous line straight across. And then I had originally planned to put this through my sewing machine to make it a quick process, but then my sewing machine broke. I had a lot of technical problems with this video, so I decided to hand stitch, and I really liked it. I didn't go all the way across. Well, on the left side I did, but on the right side I didn't because I knew I was going to layer some patterned paper there, so just to save some time. So now I'm going to add a pop of color to this because I have such a basic sort of monochromatic look there with this triangle paper. And I cut a strip. That just ties all my layers together there, and it gives a nice grounding place for my photos. Now that pattern paper also serves sort of as a grounding place, but also divides the layout into the left and to the right. And I'm going to work off that center line there that it makes. That's why I put one wood frame to the right and one to the left. That's going to keep my layout balanced. And now on one of the frames I'm going to use for journaling, which I already put through my printer, and I chose pink for a little pop of color. And then you'll see how both the journaling and the pink and the frame pop a little bit there. I had a little space at the bottom that was left blank, so I'm going to use one of my sentiment stamps. This one says "This Way to Adventure," and I like using this charcoal ink by Hero Arts. It's not quite as black as my printing ink, so it's not so bold that it overpowers the journaling, and I like that. Now that today is fading into the background there, so that's why I decided to use a little extra of the charcoal or light gray, this one is like medium gray actually, cardstock to back that word today, so it really pops off. The pattern paper really wasn't doing anything for it. A little more adjustment, and then I finally decided, yep, this is exactly where my focal point photo, the largest one, is going to go. On the right side, there's a little bit of space open there, and since I'm not a big fan of open space, I need to fill that up, and that's where I decided to put my cork. Now I realize that the layout is getting very heavy on the right hand side with the big photo and now with the cork, but I will even that out with some more decoration on the left side, starting with the top left. I'll go through some of these vellum die cuts in this pack. I like the vellum because it'll take up the space without becoming too heavy. So there's a vellum oval map there that I think was really good, went really well with the theme of travel. But it's sort of floating there. So I took a flag sticker from, that was the Atlantic Collection Studio Calico, just to sort of ground it and tie it into that big picture. So that's what that sticker does. Instead of just leaving that little map floating up there. And it also, that pink sticker also frames out my wood frame, gives it a perfect spot on the layout. And I chose the pink sticker because I had the pink in the journaling. So to bring the pink over also to the left side, that's why I chose the pink sticker, let's say over the blue sticker. I like this orange double-sided tape. I'll put it in my supply list. It's really great for heavier items. They don't ever fall off. It's super sticky. Just make sure it's exactly where you want it before you put that down. I went back to decorate the frames more, so by adding an enamel dot, and now I'm going to add the date to the frame. I'm going to use some Stays On ink. To take up that spot. So these frames are great for journaling, photos, and I think you can go a step further by either painting them or stamping on them. There's so many different things that you can do with them. I love details, so that little stamping is just another custom little detail to the layout. And now I'll notice that that left corner needs a few enamel dots and a little bit of color. So I just used 3 of the colors that were in the triangle paper. Surrounded that stitching so you can, that stitching really pops out a little bit more. 1 more enamel dot because I love them so much right there on the pink sticker. Again, it's adding color. Now I wanted to add a little bit of a title I didn't want something that stood out too much. So these skinny little letters were perfect to put right on the picture. There's sort of a negative spot in that picture where there's nothing going on there. And so I'm going to write out Guava Love, since that's the whole point of the page. And you can see they fade into the picture, but the white inside of the dark gray really, it's subtle, but it's there, which is what I wanted. Just taking another look to see, do I want a longer title? And I do, because that just guava today didn't really didn't take up the space that I wanted, and didn't say what I wanted it to say. Wasn't quite enough. Now, these tiny little enamels include little hearts. So I added a tiny pink heart right in the center, just for another little bit of color. And another detail. Taking a last look. And committing to my sign there. That's just a picture that tells where we were. That was St. Martin. And that's it. I hope this video gives you some ideas the next time you reach for your wood frames. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.